wishing your life away. Snema had always rushed through life, born at the crack of dawn and baptized in the Fons Lacus, like her mother before her and her mother's mother, all the way back to the beggar who came to be the first father of this country and rule it completely. When most babes were just starting to crawl, Snema would walk without stumble. When most others were spouting their first words, Snema was scribing her first letters. When most children's primary concerns are skipping rocks and playing hide and seek, Snema oversaw the funeral of her parents. Her mother and father, gone in a tragedy, leaving a young Snema as ruler of all the lands south of the Darkwood Forest to the Southern Sea. Snema hurried through her adolescence, sprouting as quickly as a redwood. As soon as she came of age, she married Eckel. 1 moon later, she was pregnant. After 8 more moons, her stomach had swollen like the blossom of a cherry tree in spring. Even her child was in a hurry to enter this world. The scheduled birthing was tomorrow. In a private ritual with her husband Eckel, the holy men would induce her labor. A week of celebration throughout the world would welcome her child. The next mother or father. But the child would not wait. Snema crawled from her bed, her husband nowhere to be seen. Of course, he had slept in one of the hundreds of guest chambers. She would have to do without him. With a hand on her aching abdomen, she walked the vast empty halls of the forge. At this hour, not a single servant disturbed the silence of its halls. A stark contrast to the noise of the day when cooks, cleaners, and tacksmen scurried about. She thought about calling for aid between grunts of pain. She led the civilized world. She could lead herself to safety. The child was supposed to be born in the Fons Lacus. To the Fons Lacus she would go. Unlike the quietness of her nighttime home, 7 guards patrolled the holy fountain night and day. The penalty for touching the water of the Fons Lacus was death. Death by fire. The penalty applied to everyone, including the guards. It didn't apply to Snema, of course. She was mother, ruler of all lands south of the Darkwood Forest. Snema crawled to the gate. It was made of slippery glass and tripled the height of a man. The captain of the guards had a key, and so did Snema. She unlocked the glass door. The first guard was nearly invisible in his dark green armor. The other 6 would be walking in circles around the fountain. It was the size of a small lake. It would be many minutes before she saw another guard. She clutched his legs and the guard's eyes widened. Not because he was startled, but because he had touched mother and would have felt great shame. She ordered him to fetch a holy man, and the guard set about it faster than a man in full armor should be able to run. It couldn't hurt to dip her toes in the water. It felt nice on her swollen ankles. No one had touched the waters since Snema's birth. Bubbles formed in its middle, as they had done for centuries. Not even the greatest scholars could ascertain its source. It was just one more mystery of the fountain's powers. A cramp panged in her stomach. She slid further into the fountain. The water was past her navel and her elbows rested behind her. Much like its mother, the child would not wait. Within moments, Snema held her son. Every child born in the Fons Lacus is special. Snema didn't care about other children. This child was hers. Oh, the great things he will do. She cradled the child in her arms and he nestled. She hadn't noticed he was born with hair. Snema brought the child's head close in hopes that he would nurse. He was strong already. Within no time, he would lead their lands to greatness. Ouch! The child was born with teeth. The holy man would be here soon to ease her pain. Once another guard came, she would send him to fetch her husband. Who would the child marry? It couldn't hurt to strengthen ties in both the north and the south. Snema's arms fatigued. Probably south. But there were no daughters there. If there weren't any soon enough, perhaps the north would be better. They had children in litters there. She dropped the child. He landed in the water on his feet, his arms extended upward, pleading for her to lift him. He was half her height already. This was no newborn. This was a child old enough to learn his letters. The child continued to grow as fast as a shadow in the evening. In moments, he was a man, taller than her and the striking image of her father. Handsome, muscular, fit, confident, and proud. Those features faded as quickly as they came. Her son's hair thinned and grayed. His skin and muscles sagged, and even lost several inches of height. Panic replaced his pride. Snema watched in awe as her son's panic transitioned to confusion. He collapsed. With a splash, he submerged into the fountain water. She reached for him and pulled from the water. He was a little more than bones. No life remained in him. She recoiled in horror, and he splashed again. Snema sat at the fountain's edge, submerged to her neck. She watched as her son's bones melted to ash and faded into the waters. The holy man came to her, accompanied by 2 guards. Without risking getting too close to the holy water, he called to her. For the first time in her life, Snema did nothing, and wanted to do nothing. She let the waters mesmerize her.